Welcome to From Bottles to the Boardroom, where we explore the blend of the best, the people, places, and possibilities of Southern California wine country. I'm your host, Connie Stouffer, and each episode we sit down with local leaders, innovators, and dreamers who are building business and community among the vines. Because here in SoCal wine country, business growth meets the good life, and every great conversation starts with a good pour. In this episode, we'll hear from Joe Mouawad, General Manager at Eastern Municipal Water District. The perception of California's water isn't always rosy, but behind the scenes, a quiet revolution is making sure we'll never run out of water. Joe reveals how innovative infrastructure, regional collaborations, and cutting-edge technology are transforming Southern California's water future. If you've ever wondered where your water really comes from or how the region is preparing for droughts, this eye-opening episode is your ultimate guide to water resilience. Joe, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I'm really excited to have you here today.
Thank you, Connie. Appreciate the opportunity and look forward to our conversation.
Me too. Just to start for our listeners, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at EMWD?
Sure. So again, Joe Mouawad, I'm the General Manager at Eastern Municipal Water District. We are a water, wastewater, and recycled water provider for about 1 million residents in western Riverside County and northern San Diego County. So if you think about it, our service area extends on the north from Moreno Valley all the way down to not only parts of Temecula and Murrieta, but also Fallbrook and Rainbow in San Diego County. And on the east side, we cover the cities of Hemet, San Jacinto, and then on the west side, cities of Paris and Menifee and the I-215 corridor. So about 682 square miles. We have currently about 620 employees. And one thing that's really unique about us is that we serve the fastest growing region in the state. There's tremendous amount of growth that has occurred over the last many years and frankly decades, and we still continue to see very strong growth and just tremendous amount of opportunities for us in this region.
That's a great point to call out that I was actually going to bring up about how fast this region is growing, because I think sometimes when people think about California, they think, well, there's no water. How is it going to sustain all this growth? And so maybe you can touch on what is the state of water in Southern California? What are you guys doing to invest in infrastructure and sustainability? And how does the water outlook look for Southern California?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, we have certain challenges that we're trying to address, not only in Southern California, but frankly, statewide. I think the challenges are supply and infrastructure. And I think both of those have to be addressed. They are very much connected. We have the water in the state, but we are experiencing what you often hear the term weather whiplash. We go from very extreme dry conditions to shorter and much more intense rainfall conditions. So we have to adapt. We have to modernize our infrastructure so that we can capture the water that we do get and move that water, store it, and really deliver it to where it's needed. That means that we got to invest in modernizing our infrastructure. We also have to invest in statewide solutions. For us at Eastern, we've been long time supportive of the Delta Conveyance Plan, as well as a proposed sites reservoir that will capture more off-stream water. But in addition to that, we all have to invest in local water resources, which I'm very proud of the fact that Eastern has been one of the more progressive agencies in terms of diversifying our water supply portfolio. So we got to do both, not only local projects in Southern California, but we also have to have investments in statewide infrastructure.
That's so true. And thanks to Eastern, I was able to go on a tour of the State Water Project and the Colorado River tour. And that was very educational for me, just to kind of understand where the water is coming from and the infrastructure, because I don't think a lot of people realize how far the water travels and the different organizations that are in between all of those different stops of where the water comes. And it's just not the rainfall that falls here, but we also have that as well, and that's part of that capturing of the water resources. Can you, for those of us who are listening who maybe don't know about like the State Water Project or the Colorado River and how those water sources feed our region and what percentage of that are we relying on as opposed to kind of our own local sources?
Yeah, no, you're right, and I'm glad you were able to go on that tour because really California water, and specifically Southern California water, there's so much history. It's truly rich in history. If you think about it, when the city of LA was growing back in the after the turn of the century in the 20s, there was early on recognition that there wasn't enough local precipitation to sustain the growth and frankly the transformation that LA was embarking on. So early on, it was determined that we need to import water so that we can sustain not only the communities back then, but the anticipated growth that we saw in Southern California. So that's when you had Mulholland build the LA aqueduct, but then soon thereafter in the 1928. Metropolitan Water District was established to build and operate the Colorado River Aqueduct, and that brings in Colorado River water to Southern California and to our region. And then later in the late 1960s and early 1970s, you had the State Water Project constructed that brings in Northern California water from the Bay Delta down to Southern California. So those two, if you will, arteries are the two primary sources of imported water to Southern California. But in addition, there's significant amount of local resources in Southern California. And for us at Eastern, we have one of the most diverse water supply portfolios, frankly, in the state. Not only are we able to receive State Water Project and Colorado River water, which makes up about 50% of our water supply portfolio. It used to be 2/3 of our water was imported, but over decades of investment in not only local water resources, but frankly, water use efficiency and conservation and recycled water, we've reduced that reliance on import supplies to about half. So in terms of local resources, we have what I would consider a industry-leading recycled water program, where we, in a typical year, use every drop of recycled water that we produce. We sell our recycled water to agricultural demands in the region, but also to parks and schools, environmental habitat that uses our water, fish and wildlife. So it's a very wide array of use of recycled water. It's about 1/3 of our overall water supply portfolio. In the absence of using that recycled water, we'd have to import more water from the Colorado River and from the State Water Project. In addition to recycled water, we've invested heavily in our groundwater resources. We have several wells that operate in the region, but in addition, we also have a groundwater desalination program. We actually have 3 groundwater desalination plants that serve about 30,000 residents or customers in our region. And essentially part of our groundwater aquifer is brackish or salty. It's not currently suitable for drinking, so we have to treat it, and so we desalt it. So all of those local resources have helped us really reduce our reliance on import supplies. I will also mention that even as recently as last month, we entered into an agreement with the San Diego County Water Authority to purchase conserved Colorado River supplies. So you're seeing a lot more regional collaboration to maximize use of available water. In this case, the San Diego County Water Authority had that surplus water. We're a growing region. We were able to negotiate what I believe is a win-win agreement for everyone involved, and frankly for Southern California. So we're always looking to broaden those horizons. If you think about it, a water supply portfolio think of it like a stock portfolio. You want to diversify. And you want to look at what is your long-term objective, and by diversification, you're often able to position yourself for long-term success. One thing that I mentioned earlier is the growth we've had. Over the last 25 years, we've doubled the population that we're serving, but yet the volume of water we use has remained the same while we've doubled the the population that we serve. So I think our region has been incredible in terms of efficiencies, both indoor water use efficiency, but also outdoor water use efficiency. And I think that's to the credit of our customers.
That's a really amazing stat, the doubled the population, because it's a big population. So when you think about numbers, it's a big population here that's growing, and to have kept the water usage the same. Some of those efficiencies, would you attribute some of that to just people being smarter about how they use their water, or is it high efficiency appliances or turf, changing out turf and things like that, or is it kind of a combination of all those things that are helping so much?
Yeah, it's all those things that you mentioned. We've long advocated for removal of what we call non-functional turf, meaning turf that's only aesthetic. You're not really using it. If it's just for decorative purposes, we provide subsidies, we provide financial support to put in more drought-tolerant landscaping, and we provide a lot of support to our customers to be water efficient. Everything from drip irrigation kits to in-home audits of how their water is being utilized, to just information about local contractors who can help them retrofit their landscaping. So we want to help our customers become more efficient. We also, many years ago, we rolled out a budget-based tiered rate structure for our customers. So most of our customers, they have a unique water budget, depends on the number of occupants in the house, how much yard you have, do you have a pool. So we'll develop a unique water budget, and 80% typically of our customers stay within the water budget. That means they pay the lowest rates available to us and to them. But if you use more water, and 20% do use more water than the water budget, then you're paying the higher rate. But that tiered rate structure has really helped us signal to our customers to be water efficient, and they have responded accordingly. As I said, it's over 80% of our customers stay within their budget. We work with them. If there's a leak, we can inform them right away. We have what's basically called smart meters at all of our accounts. If we notice, for example, the meter's running in the middle of the night, which is unusual, they can set up their account so that triggers a notice to them via email. And then perhaps there's a leak. Perhaps that's why your meter is running in the middle of the night. So we can come out and check it out. So having that technology deployment where customers can not only set up those alerts for themselves, but also they can look at their water budget. They can see how much they have utilized, and they can make decisions accordingly so they stay within their water budget. So all of that information is available on their accounts. And again, we're here to help because we want them to be efficient, and we want to make sure they are paying the lowest rates possible that's available to them.
I know when I get my bill, we always look every month and we're like always so proud of ourselves. We're like, look how far below we're on our budget. I wanted to ask you about this. This might be off tangent, but when we first bought our house, we have just a front yard that's kind of not utilized. And my original thought was to take that out and put artificial turf. But I was doing some research, and you can tell me if this is wrong or not, but that it seems like would be good for the environment because you're not using as much water. You're not watering your turf, but it's actually not that great as far as, because it makes it hot, right? The ground hot, and it doesn't great. It's not great for being able to permeate the water that does rain into the ground. Is that true, or is it a fine alternative but not ideal? Maybe if we were swapping out non-utilized, that turf you're not utilizing.
Yeah, I think it's really towards the latter part of what you said. It's fine, but there may be better options for folks. There is a great deal of drought tolerant pallets that we can help you with, that we can guide you with, that don't use as much water as turf and are still very aesthetically pleasing. I mean, you should see some of our customers have really done an incredible job in terms of putting in drought tolerant landscaping in the front yards. So we can definitely help on that end. But we're not going to tell our customers what to plant or what to do. I mean, it's entirely up to them. And we want to help. If they do want to transform their yard, again, we have different programs that can help them achieve that.
Perfect. I want to go actually back to another thing you mentioned. It was about the desalination plants. I don't think people realize how important those are. When I first moved here to California and I heard there was a desalination plant, I was like, oh, we're really far from the ocean. I assumed it was for ocean water because that's what I was thinking. But then when I learned on those tours that a lot of the groundwater actually is very, has a lot of minerals and salt in it that makes it hard to utilize for drinking water and other things like that. And so maybe you can tell us a little bit about the importance of those desalination plants and the impact they have on communities to have those here.
No, it's a great point. So you're absolutely right. It's really the local part of our local groundwater is salty, just due to naturally occurring minerals and salts in the ground. So we started on this program over 30 years ago when we started planning for it, and our first groundwater desalination facility came online in 2002. Then another one came online in 2006, and the most recent plant came online in 2022. These projects, these facilities use RO, reverse osmosis technology. Essentially, you extract the salty water from the ground through a well, and we convey it to our desalination treatment plant that are located in the city of Menifee. There, we use the technology to separate the salts from the water, and we actually convey the salts through the Inland Empire brine line down to the Pacific Ocean, 70 miles away. The water then used to serve the local community, and we currently produce around 14 million gallons per day of drinking water from what is really currently an unusable or not fit for drinking purposes. If it wasn't for this program, we would not be able to generate it's incredibly precious local resource. I will say that often these projects it requires a significant amount of funding and investment. But one thing that we've been very keen on is securing strategic partnerships on the federal, state, and local level to be able to offset the cost of these projects. Our desalination program, we've been incredibly successful in receiving state water resources funding. The last one, we got $22.5 million from the State Water Resource Control Board to help construct the last facility. We also have partnered for decades with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. They have a environmental program where they want to make sure that as part of the national interest that we are able to generate sufficient water, and they've helped us construct many of the groundwater wells and the pipelines. So it's by aligning ourselves with the priorities of other agencies, meaning federal agencies, state agencies, and local agencies, we can bring back, frankly, our customers' tax dollars back for reinvestment in this area. And that's one thing that our board has been really key on is, our customers pay a lot of taxes, and it's our job to bring some of that tax money back to the community and offset the cost of what is, essential service that we provide, which is water. We're very fortunate. We've been very successful in securing grant funding and external funding. In fact, since the year 2000, over the last 26 years, we've secured about $900 million in external funding, which, frankly, for an agency of our size is an incredible accomplishment. We have a great team that works on that. We go back to Washington, D.C. on a regular basis to advocate for funding. We're fortunate. We have great representatives from this region back in D.C. that help us with securing our funding. But also we go up to Sacramento on a regular basis. And we're very fortunate that we have strong working partnerships with the State Water Resource Control Board and other agencies throughout, frankly, not only throughout the state, but throughout the country.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with the partnerships and collaborations I've seen through the other water districts in the region. And I think those investments are super important, and people would be, I think, heartened to know the impact and the work that's being done behind the scenes to make sure that there's sustainable water for the region in the future. Because I know every time there's a big rain event, people are always like, oh, there goes all the water washing out to the ocean. Right. But that's part of what you guys are working on, is getting more water capture and storage and things for the region. For future projects, are there things people should know about that that be important for them to know, that dollars and investments would be important? So if they're going to talk to their legislators, or if they're on the lookout for things happening in their region that it would be important to know that are happening to support the water for the region.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think a couple of things maybe I should mention. One is for us here at Eastern, one of the major projects that we're about to embark on later this year is our pure water replenishment program. we talked about the continued growth that we're seeing. We currently add 300 new connections a month, every month, and that's been happening for many years. So with that growth, it means there's going to be more recycled water available to us. So we always want to find a beneficial use for that recycled water. So our Pure Water program does exactly that. It takes a portion of our recycled water and treats it. So it's really purified, if you will. And then we take that, we blend it with other tertiary recycled water, and then we replenish our groundwater basin in the Hemet-San Jacinto area. That water intermingles with natural groundwater, and then later downstream, in fact, it takes 6 months to a year to get to the nearest well. We extract that water, we chlorinate it, and then it becomes part of our potable water system. So that program utilizes recycled water that is ultimately purified and is used to replenish our groundwater resources. We also have embarked on a program whenever we have surplus years, whenever there's a lot of water, and I mentioned earlier there's this weather whiplash where statewide sometimes you'll get this big gulp, if you will, of water that's available, and so we gotta capture it, we gotta store it. We know we're gonna have drought years, we know we're gonna have years where we don't have enough water. So what we've developed is a water banking program, just like you think of the savings in your bank account. We want to make sure we capture that water and we move it down here and we store it underground. And we store as much as we can when it's wet years, knowing that we're going to have subsequent dry years. So we're working on that program. We've constructed already the replenishment ponds over at Mountain Avenue in San Jacinto. We have 40 acres that we purchased, that we constructed replenishment areas. And we've also worked on the wells to extract that water when we need it. So there are different components of these programs to allow this region to be reliable and resilient in the face of future weather whiplash and potentially droughts. That's what we're doing locally, or at least on a regional level. I think going back to your question about what can our customers support, well, I think it's important to support statewide investments. Later this year, the state is going to elect a new governor. And I think whoever that individual is, we would like to see water as a priority for the next governor, so that investments are made in the Delta Conveyance Project, in the Sites Reservoir, in frankly modernizing what is a system that hasn't been modernized for decades. And if you think about the system that we rely upon, whether it's the Colorado River Aqueduct that was built back in the late 1920s and 30s, or State Water Project that's several decades old, conditions have changed in the state. The weather patterns have changed. And we just need to adapt, we need to modernize. And frankly, a lot of the priorities in the state, whether it's affordable housing or the economy or the growth or agriculture, all of these industries rely on water. None of it can prosper. None of it can flourish without water. So we're working with our colleagues as part of the Association of California Water Agencies, or otherwise known as ACWA, to try to elevate the message. And what is our vision for the water, for our water future, for our collective water future, and really elevating those priorities to the next governor, so they can embrace those priorities, not only as water as a standalone priority, but the nexus to everything that I mentioned that's so important to the state of California.
No, that's so true. And here at the EDC, we're all about bringing in businesses, but a lot of those businesses require water, and we have tried to be really thoughtful about what kind of businesses are we attracting, how much water do they need, and what do we get as a community and as a result for trading off those resources. And I think a lot of communities across the country are thinking about that too, for different large-scale projects like data centers and AI, and how that's impacting water in different parts of the country. And so we have to think about that too, because one project that needs a bunch of water means there might be less resources for other projects, and I think we as a state have to think about what do we want to bring into the region as far as population and investment and jobs, and how will we support that through investment and the critical infrastructure that's required to support those kinds of investments.
I agree. I also think I'm optimistic. I actually think we can do all the above if we're smart about how we go about doing it. I don't think there's any particular industry that should suffer. I don't think we should say, well, we have enough water for these types of industries, but not for other industries. I think if we all implement best management practices, and if we all make investment in our water system a priority, we can continue to thrive as a state. And the ag industry that not only feeds our state, but frankly feeds the rest of the nation, can continue to thrive. The technology industry, which is so important for the state, can continue to grow and thrive and support the economy. The housing industry, which is so much needed, and I think as evidence here in our region, a lot of the growth that we're seeing is because of families and folks seeking affordable housing. We're seeing this internal migration of population shift out to the Inland Empire because folks want to be able to start a home, and so I think if we want to achieve all those, and we should be able to achieve all of those, we just need to be smart about our investments, about our priorities, and ultimately just implement best practices across various industries. I don't think it's fair to single out one industry and say, well, you're not going to get any water, but the rest of us will. I don't think that's smart business.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think when we work with projects, we always just try to be really clear about, we always reach out to the water districts and say they need this much. And then that's how we kind of confirm how much they have, how much they need. If they need more, how can we get it to them, and those sorts of things, and work with our partners in the region to make sure we can deliver on projects that want to invest in the region. Because if they want to bring jobs and investment, that's something we want to help them do. So, I mean, we appreciate our partners both in water and in the cities and other utilities within the region to help make that happen.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think you alluded to something that we take very seriously, which is forward planning. We spend a lot of time working with our cities to understand their land uses and their projected growth. Ultimately, our area is only about 40% built out, so there's still a lot of growth to occur in our region. So we have to position ourselves to accommodate that growth. Not only are we investing to meet our current needs, but we got to invest and position to make sure we continue to accommodate the growth that we anticipate over, frankly, years and decades. So we do a lot of forward planning. We do a lot of coordination, not only with the cities that we serve, but also the county of Riverside and others, and frankly, other stakeholders, including the agricultural community that we serve, the business community, the BIA, or the Building Industry Association. So we pride ourselves on building these strong partnerships so that we all can, frankly, all of us working together can achieve a lot more than each of us working alone.
100%. I definitely agree. And it requires everybody, because projects can't get done if everyone's not participating in that process. Speaking of everyone working together, all of the investments and the projects and the work that you guys are doing to serve all the customers in the region requires a lot of people. And I know that there are great careers in water, and I don't necessarily think people think, oh, I should consider a career in water, but it's a really cool industry. And so maybe you can talk a little bit about what's it like to work in water, and what are some of the careers that you're seeing a lot of retirements in, that people could, move into if they were interested in learning that career.
I'm glad you brought this up. I mean, we think this is a really important topic. And we're very passionate about this topic, actually, and we've implemented so many different programs to really spark an interest in young adults to join the industry. Half of our 620 employees are eligible for retirement the next 5 years. So as you indicated, there's this wave coming. It's often referred to, you probably heard the term silver tsunami of impending retirements. So we have been actively working on a succession plan for our agency. There are great careers in the water industry that often don't get the visibility that they should. I mean, this is everything from engineers and scientists and operators to operate our wastewater system. We do a lot of construction crews and the various trades, frankly, to also folks that support us here at our headquarters, from finance folks to auto mechanics, HR individuals, all types of professionals that we need to operate a water system. So we've started a career technical education program with Hemet West Valley High School. This is one of many programs to again, reach out to young adults, share with them the great opportunities in this industry. This is an industry that has a lot of growth potential. It has great pay and benefits, and frankly, a good work-life balance. In addition to the technical education program with the high school, we also have internship program. We also have a youth ecology program. So we have just a number of different programs to reach out to the young adults, and we also have a lot of tours. We bring in a lot of school students through our facilities to just inform and educate them. But I think it's a great career. I'm maybe a little bit biased. I've been in the industry for my entire professional life, 30 some years. I really enjoy it. It's a very rewarding career because you do feel that you're making a tangible impact, a positive impact on the communities that you serve, and that is kind of unique when you feel like, well, we had an issue here, for example, like failing septic systems that you're able to connect to sewers, or if you have a community that perhaps doesn't have reliable water supply, that you're helping bring reliable and frankly water supply that will help with fire flow. So all of those things have a tangible benefit to the community, and I feel very proud that I'm part of an industry that can deliver that.
No, I think a lot of people these days are looking for a career that has meaning to it, and water is such a basic need that every living creature on Earth needs, and to be able to always go to your tap and know that you're going to get water and it's always going to be clean, it's always reliable. I think it's something that you can, like you said, it really brings meaning to communities, and it is an important career that we need to have. We need to have all those people filled at those jobs that are retiring in the next 5 years. Get people, talented people who are passionate about serving their communities into those jobs. For somebody who's maybe a young adult, who's maybe has a high school diploma or maybe is in college, what's a good foundation for someone who wants to pursue a variety of careers in water?
So I think they should reflect on what is their passion in terms of is it being out in the field? Would they like to be involved in construction or operations, or are they more inclined to be someone in the office, like helping us with engineering, planning, finance, or analysis? But all of the above, I think there is a need for folks in the water industry. So you can always reach out to us. We have a lot of information on our website as far as careers and even entry-level positions or internship programs. But yeah, just reach out to our HR team, and we can definitely help. If not, with EMWD, we can point you in the right direction. I think, as I said, we're always looking for individuals who are interested in being part of this industry, because it does provide a great opportunity for folks.
Yeah, and I think so many people are worried about careers that are going away because AI is going to replace them. These are jobs that AI isn't going to be able to replace. You still need somebody out there managing the systems, building the pipelines, and doing all of that work. So this is a long-term career that I think all of our communities need.
We're always going to need water. Water's not.
Yes. We haven't figured out an AI solution for that just yet.
That's right.
Yeah. So we've covered a lot. I wonder if there's anything I haven't asked about, like things that are happening in the region that people should know about water, or things that people could do to get more involved in water in Southern California.
Well, I mean, just a couple things. We've got a lot of projects going on in the region. You can always go on our website, check out what we've got going on. One project that is nearing completion for us is we are extending sewer in wine country.
Mm-hmm. And I've seen that project.
Yeah, and it's been a long time coming. Fortunately, we talked about partnerships previously, but one of the key partnerships that has allowed us to advance the second phase, because the first phase of our sewer project in wine country was completed back in 2015. We extended the sewer along Rancho California Road and other areas. We built 2 lift stations. The current project under construction extends that northern wine country project even further, but also we're constructing a southern wine country project. The wineries out there, they currently rely on on-site wastewater systems, so it's limited, and there's limitations to what they can do in terms of expansion of their facilities, but yet it's a significant tourist destination for, frankly, many in Southern California. So the county many years ago put forward a plan to strengthen and evolve that region, and we wanted to support that. And recently, the county supervisors provided us with significant funding to help us with the cost of extending the sewer, and that's exactly what we're doing. So we're on track to complete the second phase of the Wine Country Infrastructure Project later this year. It's going to make sewer available to many of the wineries out there, and they're going to be able to expand their businesses. Again, this is a demonstration of us partnering with the county and with others to bring practical solutions. Not only are we providing sewers, but by converting the septic systems or the on-site wastewater systems to sewer, it helps protect the groundwater basin. That groundwater basin there is key to basically serve as a drinking water resource for our neighboring water agency, Rancho California Water District. So again, there's multiple benefits to that project, but that's just one of, I would say, a dozen projects that we've partnered with the county, utilizing American Rescue Plan Act funding, grants that we got a couple of years ago. So it demonstrates how this region really works so well together to provide practical pragmatic solutions to often challenges that I said, we can't always solve on our own, but by having those strong partnerships, we're able to really bring some great solutions forward.
Yeah, and I think so. Some of those expansions that sewer project out in wine country is going to make it so that, say I have a winery out there but wanted to add a restaurant, or they wanted to add hotel rooms or something like that, they can do that now because they'll have adequate sewer out there, right? That's
exactly. Before they were not able to do that. Again, partly because of concerns about protecting the groundwater basin, but now with sewer out there, it really just opens up that whole region to so much more growth, and we're excited to be part of the solution out there.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. And so when people are out there driving through there and they see that construction, they'll just have to tell themselves that's for a new restaurant that they're going to be able to go to soon,
That's right.
And more winery opportunities for them to have fun out there. That's all that's building up to that. So
Exactly. And the good news is we're going to be wrapping up the construction out there this year, and I'm just really excited because that area has just grown so much over the years, and there is still a lot of growth that is yet to occur.
yeah, there's more vines being planted and wineries popping up. There's always new ones out there. So I think we're going to just continue to see growth out there, just like we're seeing growth everywhere else in Southern California.
Absolutely. But back to your question, I would definitely encourage your listeners to go on our website, take a look at all the different projects, see if there's anything that piques your interest. You can always reach out to us, whether it's for a job opportunity or if it's helping you become more efficient in terms of your water use. Whatever the interest may be, don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Thank you. That's wonderful. And we'll make sure to add the links in our description so people can find that easily. But I appreciate you sharing all of the information about Southern California, because I can't tell you the number of times I've been at a conference or talking to places, they're like, oh, I heard California doesn't have any water. And I'm like, no, we've got plenty of water. And they're like, no. And I'm like, no, really. And it's not just because we've had, some significant rain events over the last couple of years, but it's because of the investment that's being put in and the forward thinking that's been put in by the districts. And, aquifers are full and reservoirs are filling. And that's partly because of all that work that the collaborative agencies have done to ensure that when we do have droughts, it's not devastating. And we just have to be mindful of our water use and how we manage that going forward.
Agree. Exactly.
Yeah. But I really want to thank you for all the work that you do in the region. It's so important. And I think oftentimes it's behind the scenes. I don't think anyone thinks too much about all the work that goes into when they turn their tap on, that goes on behind to make sure that it's reliable and clean and that everyone has what they need. And I appreciate you sharing with all of the listeners about what you guys are doing at EMWD.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you for highlighting water and how critical it is to all of us. So appreciate the opportunity to have this conversation, and let us know if we can be of service. This has been really a really great conversation with you. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks for being on the show.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. That's it for today's episode of Bottles to the Boardroom. If you enjoyed this conversation, follow the show, leave a review, and share it with someone building something bold or someone who simply appreciates a great story paired with a great glass of wine. I'm Connie Stouffer, and I'll see you next time in Southern California wine country, where business growth meets the good life, and every great idea starts with a good pour.